going on, Legion? Azrael here, like always. And we got kind of a long video, 13 minutes. This is behind the scenes of episode 6, I believe, the Frozen Lake scene or something. What was it specifically? Double click. It is the Frozen Lake. So, yeah, let's just get into it, check it out, see what it's all about. Let's not waste any more time with me blabbering. And I'm going to take a drink real quick. Excuse me. Sore throat. Sorry. I'm making all videos right now today. So this is the 4th and final Game of Thrones video I'm making. Still got 4 more to do. Let's get it. This is a great scene. The dragon. Oh my god. Definitely one of my favorite moments. Next episode, or the upcoming episodes with that dragon are going to be really cool. Probably going to be my favorite. Blue fire, I'm assuming. Frost fire? Frost breath? I don't know. Very Resident Evil looking with all the mad zombies.
It was a real back and forth about who would be on this mission, who wouldn't be on this mission. The Dirty Dozen obviously came to mind. Everybody has a good reason to hate everybody else.
I mean, it's definitely got that, gathering together these kind of misfits. A bunch of our favorite characters, many of whom have never been on screen together, but who all find themselves at the end of the world for one reason or another. And so getting Tormund back in the picture, the Hound, and Jon, and Beric, and Jorah, it's a fun group.
The sequence had been so well conceived on a visual level by Alan and his team. To do that with hundreds of people and weather and visual effects and fire with lots of moving parts and still have that sense of artistry about it takes a different level of directing.
Our story is 7 guys on a rock being attacked by whites and trying to tell a clear story of, your task is to defend a perimeter, and as you lose, your perimeter is going to fall back, and how do you kind of hold order against just pure chaos? It's, herding kittens. It's, you can't see anything except people whacking each other, and it takes some effort to talk to the cast to sort of say, no, the story is, here's a line, and we have to show that it's not being broken or that it is being broken.
Herding kittens.
It was important to create a situation where I'm hoping the audience will think that one of our beloved characters is going to die.
I mean, we wrote it, and we were watching it, and I was thinking, I was like, holy shit, Tormund's gonna die. But somehow, he managed to override my rational brain and make me think that Tormund was gonna die.
No matter how great your visual effects
fucking Hound, man!
Or your art department and everything, there's just nothing quite like the real thing if you can find it. Iceland exists, and it's real, and it's cold as hell, and it's beautiful, and there's just nothing like having that reality on screen.
It doesn't look like anywhere else. Half the time, it doesn't even look real, and I worry that people are going to think the blues of those glaciers are some kind of cheap special effect. The more spectacular looking it is, the more difficult it is to shoot there.
I think there's a sort of kick-bollock scrambleness to filming out here, where you have such limited daylight, and you have conditions which are like this or worse. It just gives it a sense of reality.
I don't know who's the actor of the Night
In the world of Thrones, it's great coming to these landscapes that just really kind of arc back in time and take you to something very, very brutal and barren.
There's an extent to which nothing ever surprises you on this job anymore, but this, you still can't help but be impressed by this. I mean, it's nuts.
You can't get to this location without literally monster jeeps. It's a hell of a way to go to work.
The Icelandic technical crew for setting up the base camp have to have everything ready, and they have to do that obviously under cover of darkness. So the crew, when they arrive, everything is ready to go.
When we're shooting on the glacier, everyone's got the crampons strapped onto their boots because otherwise you'll slip, and even with the crampons, we had a bunch of guys falling and banging themselves up, but luckily no major injuries this year.
This year.
What we had to go through to get the zombie polar bear was writing the zombie polar bear into every season of the show for about 4 seasons.
We thought they'd be so excited to do a zombie bear, and it's kind of like, oh my god, they're serious about doing this fucking zombie bear.
Only to have Bernie and the visual effects guys tell us in the nicest possible way, fuck you, we cannot afford a zombie polar bear. This year made perfect sense that you could have one of these things out there, and we really put our 4 feet down and we said, God damn it, we want a zombie polar bear.
Good thing they put it off until now.
We looked at some of the beats, the way the polar bear in the previews that we got, how it spots the guy's way, how it picks someone up and shakes him around, and then we get our wires in and start rehearsing with guys using different methods to pull someone around and get the right body shapes and the right energy.
Everything's made sure it's super safe first. We test everything over and over again, usually with a weight bag, and when we're happy that it's safe to have someone on, we get someone on.
We were holding the flaming sword in the jaws of this thing, so the big guy was able to move the head around, which was something for our actor on the floor to work against.
I've never really worked with this ping pong ball thing and pretend that's a bear, and I've had people going, oh, when I'll come towards you, I'm a bear. No, you're not. Your name's Toby.
Your name's Toby. Oh, man. It was good, man.
Most of the heavy lifting of the sequence, that was all in Wolf Hill Quarry in Belfast.
It's one of those things where, you know, when you film something in another location and then you're responsible for finishing that location off somewhere else, you have to really do your homework and try and make sure that you match it as best you can so that then Alan would have an entrance for the characters. When you stand up on the top and look down, it was like we were building, I don't know, an airport or something. The scale of it is enormous.
We built nature. You know, sometimes I walk out there and I think we're crazy people.
We had a really tricky time trying to work out what a frozen lake looks like and how we can achieve that. And that went from a compacted quarry floor to putting concrete down to a nice flat finish, and then there had to be hues of colour that had to be added to that. Then we had to work out how the ice would look, trying to make that look three-dimensional and as if it was transparent ice. All these things are really, really tricky.
Stop!
We paint the cliffs a little bit, and then we snow the cliffs a lot.
3,500 bags of snow through 6 machines with 15 guys. We're constantly redressing it and adding to it. And
Jesus.
Every day we have to scrape it off and start again the next day. And yeah, it's full on.
It's a really cool set. Like, it's an amazing set. They cemented a whole quarry to flatten it out to make it look like an ice lake.
The amount of workmanship is incredible, and I mean, it really, we've had to run across that ice. It just looks so real. It's fantastic.
I thought it was a real lake. Then I understood that they have made this for this sequence. Yeah, it blew my mind.
This amount of people, and when the camera rolls, everything just sort of comes together at precisely the right time.
I'm still thinking about you have to clean it down pretty much.
Original
Redo it.
intention was to dig out the areas on location where people would need to fall through the ice, and then it became clear to everyone that probably the temperatures were going to be so terribly cold. We figured out if we use motion control, then we could achieve it on stage.
Where the whites fall for the ice, we're doing those as separate set pieces, and then building rigs to drop underneath the ice to take the weight of the actors and then allow them to drop through.
You know, even though we've got 10 guys falling in while the camera's moving, by the time we're finished, we've got 100 guys falling in and the camera's moving 5 times as far.
Everyone's always like, oh, you get to shoot in a tank, great. No. It's the end of the season, and I get plunged into cold water with a full costume on. It's going to be miserable.
When you're in the middle of a fight, you need to have all your adrenaline on a maximum. So I had to be pumped up and ready in 5 to 10 seconds and then calm the fuck down very fast.
You've got to loosen up. You've got to be ready for a fight. With a big Norwegian, and we're both looking at you. Ah! Ah!
Big Norwegian.
The actors are so into it. You're
One of our heroes gets chased to the top of the island. The higher edge is about 11 foot from the frozen lake.
Big trust thing because I'm falling into the guys. The guys are catching me off the end of the rock, opposed to where you'd normally do falls into boxes or an airbag.
And then the dragon. Woo! Polar bear and dragons all in
funny
one.
How times have changed. In season 2, the dragon was riding on Danny's shoulder, and now Danny's riding on the dragon's shoulder. And when Danny gets on and off the dragon, it's sort of like wheeling up the stairs to a 747. We've modeled the dragon and then laser cut this full-scale
Holy
giant
shit.
piece of polystyrene to create a section of the dragon's back that is living on the island at the frozen lake.
I've got a bit of climbing to do on that contraption with a person on my shoulder. I just hope I can do it. Well, I've never flown a dragon before. I'm sure we're fine. Just hang on.
This year, things are a little bit
This is so
easier.
cool,
We
man.
have a bigger motion base. We have a bigger buck.
It's a lot harder, especially for Amelia. It's one thing to act in a room with somebody and to draw on your considerable resources as an actor. It's another thing to have a situation that's supposed to incorporate the same level of emotion, but in the most artificial environment you can possibly imagine. It's the opposite of walking in costume through Iceland.
You know, the harder the challenge, the more I relish it. But this really, you're like, can I just even maybe have like, you know, like a screen with like clouds or something? Like, I've never flown on a dragon. And to just harness that power, can you even imagine?
The fire column slicing the ice, we wanted to make sure that it looked like a cutting torch, and it's exploding the ice,
So
atomizing the ice immediately. So we worked with Sam's team again, and when you see it, it really is awesome.
Damn, that did look good. Those effects right there, putting it all together. Ooh.
We knew that the Night King would see and seize this opportunity, and like to think that when the dragon dies, that it's kind of a nice 1-2 punch, because on the one hand, you're just seeing the horror of one of these the three only unique, amazing beings like this in the world, going under the water and not coming up again, and you're processing that. Then you're processing something that's even worse, which is when it comes back out from under the water again. The eyes of the White Walkers and the Whites have been such a prominent feature of the show, and a lot of work has gone into the specifics of how the eyes look, and to see that hopefully iconic image at this point blown up to the size of a
There he
beach
is.
ball, that seemed like it was an inherently crowd-pleasingly oh shit moment for everybody.
Damn. Damn. Whew. All right, man. That was an enjoyable 13 minutes. I got to say, I enjoyed checking out all the stuff from Game of Thrones, all the behind the scenes. We checked out before that 3-minute clip of them talking about going out on Iceland and doing the adventure scene. Pretty much it was kind of like it was the cast commentary for episode 5, technically. It's really cool to kind of see the whole behind the scenes to the lake scene for episode 6. Yeah, I'm definitely enjoying how the show is coming about. There's definitely been some low moments in the show, but I think in general, I don't need there to be action all the time. I like, for example, some of my favorite movies are the Bourne trilogy, the first 3 with Matt Damon. And I like just as much as the political thriller side of that movie or those movies as I do the action side. Excuse me, when the political thriller is just as crazy. And it's no different for Game of Thrones. There's some backstabbiness, there's some kind of king overthrowing goodness going on. at least in Game of Thrones, there's a chance for someone to get poisoned or killed. And I mean, it's just, for me, I enjoy all the ups and downs. I said this before, when it seemed like next season is supposed to be the final season, I get kind of annoyed that we did have so much just here and there and some stuff that maybe wasn't super important, yet we had it anyways. And, now we're going to, and I'm really scared we're going to round down what's going on in Game of Thrones in the final season. Just all the stuff we all wanted to see, instead of having all this stuff over kind of maybe the last 2 seasons, which I hope that's kind of what they're doing now. Right now they're building it all up, and I think by the end of this season it's going to be like the final battle, and then next season is probably going to have a lot of the final battle in it, and hopefully maybe what comes after that, and then it'll be over, if that is the end. But I think they're doing good so far now. I'm enjoying everything that they're doing as far as bringing all the people together. Like they said before, people that never even been on the same screen or in the same group yet. It's some of the best stuff. It is some of the best. I find myself, in between seasons not caring about Game of Thrones because it's like you take like a year off. I just can't keep the hype. It took me 5 episodes before I finally went back and watched all 5 in a row to catch up. I knew I had to do it. I wanted to check out all the content. I wanted to be a part of it. I wanted to do YouTube videos on it and see the comments you guys are leaving, like what's going on. This is my theory. I'm loving the show, whatever it was. I know we're not a huge community here, so I'm not expecting gobs of comments, but still, any comment is always a welcome comment. And it's still going good. And finally, when I did check it out and get back into it, God, I'm having as much fun as I did when I watched season 1, hyped to see season 2, and still pretty excited to see season 3. It was probably between season 3 and 4, 4th being the last season I was super excited to see, and the 5th and 6th and 7th I just kind of was like watching it. Also, I don't think I was doing reactions or anything back then either. So that also gives me a motivation to watch stuff that I either put off or like that, because I want to discuss it and have this dialogue with viewers. So that's always really cool. And I think with that, we're already running on a 17.5-minute video. So thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. And I'll see you on whatever video I'm doing next. Later, guys.